Hello all, we are going to start our next chapter, which is functions. In this chapter, you will be introduced with functions and also types of functions, which is void and value returning functions. And then we'll also see how to use these functions, how to create those functions in our regular programs. So basically, function is nothing but a group of statements, which is in our program, like in a program, within a program itself, that is set to define or that is set to perform a specific task. So basically, let's understand by looking at an example. So let's say that you are trying to create a square in your turtle graphics. So what you'll do, you first import the turtle module, and then you are going to ask the turtle to move forward. Then maybe if you are using right or left, then it's 90. Otherwise, if you are using set heading, you're just going to change the value or the argument for the set heading function and then call it and then repeat that statement multiple times until you have reached your goal, right? So this is when you have your fixed length of the square. But what if you want to design a turtle graphics window or any program which has different parameters for the same square? So let's say you want to create a square with 25 width. Next is a 50, next is 100, next is 150. So instead of copying and pasting the same 10 to 12 lines of code 4 to 5 times, we can just create a function which can just call it a square in this example, and then call that function 4 times with various values of width or the length of the side of the square. So that is basic example of a function. So basically, function is a piece of the program which can be called multiple times depending upon the need with various arguments. So functions can be executed in the order to perform the overall tasks. And this type of approach where you are basically dividing or taking a part of the program and then making a function out of it is called as divide and conquer approach. So the part of wherein this part of divide and conquer approach is also called as modularization. So modularized program is nothing but a program wherein each task within the program is it in its own function. So let's say again turtle graphics. The reason I keep giving turtle graphic example is because that is the only one that you have used, which uses a module. So basically you are importing that module, right? So you are importing the module turtle, which has all the certain functions inside it. So when you are using certain function inside that module, you are using the dot notation. So it is turtle dot forward. So you are calling or you are using the function forward, which was defined inside the module turtle. So such type of programs which have only the functions defining part are called as modularized programs. So this is the representation. So you have a sequence of long complex sentences. This could be any number of statements. And from this big program, you have defined, let's say, smaller tasks, or you have defined by using the divide and conquer approach, and you have created 4 different functions. So from here, you can also see that the syntax for creating a function is def, which is the shorthand for define, space, name of the function. It could be anything, but as we already know, like, when you are naming certain variables or naming certain functions, it is good to have the names which represents its action. So let's say if I'm defining the function rectangle. So if I want to build a rectangle by using that function, then I'll just name this as rectangle. So the syntax is define space function name, open and close parenthesis, colon, and then enter statements. All the statements underneath the function block are indented. We know this from chapter 4 as well. So whichever all the statements underneath the if, else, while should also be indented. If you want to come out of this block, you can just hit backspace and then you're back and your cursor is back to its original position. So just a simple benefits of using functions include the code will be easier. So instead of reusing the code, you can just call it multiple times, and better testing and debugging as well. So you could test and debug each function individually. It's faster development, and when you are working in teams, then you could divide the, like, let's say 10 different tasks of a program with your teammates, and each one of you can work on a specific function. So it allows that feasibility as well. So with that, this is the introduction of the functions. In the next video, we'll be talking about defining and then what void function is and what a value returning function is. Okay, we'll see you in the next video.